Right, so if you want to get your copy of the Fun and Country magazine, come and visit us at 19 Courtney Road and let's have a chat, get a coffee, and see what property there is for the rest of the country. All right, Boykie, it's official. The day has arrived. So, our first podcast episode for Fun and Country, I obviously wear a dual hat. So, I am part of Garden Route 360. I'm the founder. The podcast studio is part of that. And I joined the Fun and Country team. And this is basically the collaboration that we've got going here. So,
Amazing. Amazing.
how do you feel?
No, I think I think it's going to be great for Fun and Country, and I think it's going to be great for you. I think Fun and Country as a brand is definitely on par with your standards and your expectations. So, looking forward to what's to come.
Good. So, Boykie, let's talk property. So, obviously, this podcast specific, we're going to utilize for everything property related topics. It's going to be posted on the Fun and Country social channels. So, for viewers out there, if you would like to feature any questions or comments in future videos, we will then include that. So, please do engage with us on social media. And who knows, you might find yourself on the seat with us to have a discussion. All right, so some of the topics that I want to cover this morning. First of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Jaden? Who's Jaden and why did you join Fun and Country?
First of all, I think us as real estate agents have our own brand. The agency behind us is very important in terms of what they bring to the table. I think Fun and Country has a very upmarket brand. And in terms of the properties that I'm targeting, I'm very happy having the branding of Fun and Country behind me.
Good. I think you mentioned quite a number of valid reasons there. First of all, association with a quality brand. I'll tell you my story as to why I joined Fun and Country now as well, a bit different to yours. But and also, you know what type of properties you want to be associated from straight off the bat. And obviously, there's quality and service that gets aligned with those qualities as well. So, funny enough, for me, when I relocated back to George, I obviously had certain other ventures and I wanted to get into the real estate because that was the perfect alignment for me. So I reached out on email to a number of real estate agencies in George, and Fun and Country was the only agency that actually came back to me.
Really?
And said, well, Tace, we'd love to have an interview with you. Come through. Let's have a discussion. Love where the ideas are going, etc. And I ended up joining Fun and Country. But I wasn't going to also join a state agency that didn't have international exposure or reach and certain of those backings. Because for me, I play in the high-end market as well. Not to say that I haven't sold entry-level properties within the area, but I also play in the high-end space. I look at international payment structures. If people want to do Bitcoin as a payment, for instance, that's something that was important for me as well. And being able to reach out to international buyers.
Yep.
Because local is lacquer, don't get me wrong, but we obviously have influx of people coming from outside and wanting to invest in the country.
100%. That's also, if I can add to why I joined Fun and Country, and that's definitely one of the biggest reasons as well, is their exposure worldwide.
Okay. No, good. So very similar as to why we ended up joining. Mine just was a little bit more of it was a bit of a lucky packet, you know.
But to add on that, at Fun and Country, we take communication very seriously.
Absolutely.
Regardless.
Yeah. And look, I think that's one of the things that stood out for me from the beginning. Communicated, got a response because I got the customer experience, and for me, even in the space that I play in, that's very important because for us, we need to look after seller, buyer, investor.
Yeah.
Those are our three. And if you've got a mandate with one, you need to always keep safety, communication, and also vetting of potential buyers back of mind.
Yeah.
I mean, in one of the future podcast, episodes, we'll probably end up talking about what are some of the horror stories that we've experienced in the real estate game. Scaliness, unethicalness, but we'll leave that for another episode.
Let's do that.
Okay. All right. So let's look at some of the other things that we're going to be doing on the channel. So a very exciting one for me is Property of the Week. That's where we're going to be showcasing a property that we've identified that is absolutely beautiful, this side of the equation, and that is really value for money.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. So I think there's a number of factors that plays a role for me here, is to showcase a property that's got, all the bells and whistles, but that really shouts uniqueness.
Yeah.
So we're going to now move over to Property of the Week, and then you and I can sort of have a discussion and see what we think about this. I absolutely love what this property has to offer. So first of all, it is completely separate to anything or any property around you. You have this beautiful view of mountains and ocean view. You're on a hill. This is obviously a Tuscany style built. You've got beautiful marble floors and such a beautiful home for entertainment purposes. I don't know about you, Jaden, but nothing says home as what we're watching over here.
No, 100%. I mean, which home can offer you 360 beautiful, amazing views of mountain and sea?
Absolutely.
And that's why we love the garden route.
Yeah, I agree. So if you would like to see more of this property, check out the link below. And if you're interested, get in touch. And who knows, this might just be your next property. So once again, what a beautiful property.
Unbelievable.
So let's talk Fine and Country. So over 300 branches globally, from Dubai, Mauritius, Europe. So depending on where you would want a property, we've got an extension of the leg that can obviously assist. What do you think Fine and Country Outeniqua, which basically runs from Knysna to George, Mossel Bay and Oudtshoorn, has to offer, which other real estate agencies at this point in time cannot offer just yet?
It's a very good question. I think at the moment our exposure of the properties is very advanced. I think the things we do for our mandates, and those higher end properties we targeting most of them are targeting people from overseas, your international buyers. So I think the quality of shoots, pictures, videos, 3D tours, and voiceovers that we do are very extensive and very good.
We live in a time where technology has advanced. A lot of estate agencies have sort of remained where they started out historically. And I'm not taking away from new agents that's starting in a company and that's got very limited tool sets to their disposal into being able to record a property, etc. For me, it's all about quality. So, if you're taking photos, make sure, there's not a sock that's still hanging out of the washing machine.
Yes.
We spoke about this previously, about a photo of a cat.
Yes.
Now you've got 3 photos of the cat.
Yep.
Are you trying to sell the
Does
cat?
the cat come with a house?
Exactly.
I'm a bit confused, yeah.
So, I know if it was your squinma or your mother-in-law and you had a photo then, maybe,
might come with the property.
Or a discount, but at least that would have obviously had a different spell on it. All right. So I think for me personally, and that's why I love, because you know me, I love working with other estate agents as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are some unethicalness happening, and I'm going to mention this a lot because we look at this very seriously because the PPRA, and that's why we attend a lot of these meetings, have got very strict rules in place of how mandates should be managed and held, how estate agents must be held accountable when dealing with, both seller and buyer, being fair, but also educating out there, because just as much effort that we put in, we want to have that same effort when we obviously work with other agents.
Yeah.
I work with a number of agents that doesn't even sit within the Fine and Country space. And that's perfectly fine because the consistency of quality of workmanship and respect and me being able to rely on them with dealing with clients is an absolute must.
Yeah.
So in saying that, what are some of the concerns that you've come across when sharing a mandate or sharing a property listing together with, with another agent or agency?
I feel the standard of work is a problem. In terms of we as both parties are working on a singular property. So however that agent or agency reflects, if it's negative, it also reflects negatively on me. Fine and Country are very fair. If the other agency would like to use our marketing and our resources, we're willing to share those resources and share content. However, once the property is sold, then it's a good thing because both parties will benefit.
Absolutely. And I think that's a big thing for me, especially with a mandate. So in each of the mandates that I write, I include there for the seller to also be aware of this, that any other agency that brings a vetted buyer to the table, we will do a split.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of time wasters in the market that even have actors on their books that pretend to be buyers that will come through just to showcase feet that's coming through to that property. And I'm a straight shooter. Unfortunately, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I might bring you one buyer, but it will be that one buyer that will actually take your property.
Yeah.
So that's very important to me. And that's why also association. Who do we associate with? Because I've got small one-man estate agents in a real estate agency that I'm comfortable in working with because, the trust is there, the ethicalness is there. Rather walk away from a bad deal than try and create some form of revenue generation there, but it's going to come back and bite you either by reputation or some other form of whatever. So that for me is extremely important. What would you like to get from the podcast episode? If you were a listener, a buyer, a seller, what is something that you would like to get from this podcast?
I would like to understand exactly what real estate agents are actually doing behind the scenes. I think from my side, a lot of clients don't actually understand why we ask certain questions, such as FICA, how are you purchasing the property? So I think a bit of knowledge for potential sellers, buyers, renters. I think that would be a great thing to have showcased on the podcast.
Yeah, I agree. I think educating is such an important thing, especially in today's life, because, you've got terminology like double commissions that gets paid out, whether or not you're legally allowed to get somebody to rent a property. And then at the later stage, they're sort of forced to have now a sole mandate for sales with an agency. So there's a number of these realities that's been created, and you almost feel like you're now bullied into having to sign and to conform to these normalities.
Yes.
And I think these will be some of the nice topics, that we can talk about. As you know, we're going to have some amazing guest speakers that's going to be on the podcast as well. That's also just going to come and reinforce some of the legalities around what can and can't be done. And then we're also going to have, architects. There's going to be property developers on here. Some of the names in the industry that you might not even have heard of, but that has done some amazing work around the garden route.
Yep.
So I'm very excited about that,
Yeah.
and just to showcase that on the channel as well. And then another exciting thing is, and you and I have discussed this, is our marketing component. So I don't want to give too much away, but and for everyone that's watching the podcast, once we launch our first advertisement, we would obviously want to get feedback.
100%.
Myself and Jaden loves feedback. So whether it's good, bad, or ugly, we take it for what it comes from. So, we just love the honesty thereof, and we can look at it then from there. But yeah, so I think that is something I'm also excited about, just to see
100%.
how that's going to pan out.
And I think after we do launch what we're launching,
Yes.
I think then we can almost have a question and answer session. Like you say, like with the comments and people's feedback, maybe we can set something up where we have live interactions with people.
Absolutely.
And they can give their thoughts and feedback.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Another thing is that, if anybody out there that's watching would like to reach out to us and be associated with the channel in a number of capacities, if you want to be featured in one of our podcast episodes, you've got an interesting topic, or you've got a role that synergizes what we have to offer in the property space, please do that. And I'm going to throw it out there, Jaden, but if you want to be featured in one of our future adverts or commercials, whatever you want to call it, please reach out for that as well. We fun, we joyful.
It's definitely fun.
Yeah, and
indemnity forms will definitely need to be signed.
Ja, listen, daar gaan baie van daai geteken
Yeah.
word. But yeah, so I think
But I think you're giving a bit too much away now.
yeah, I'm not going to say anything further. My PR came and spoke to me. I saw the sign. Yeah, sorry. We don't have Karens here, but if we did, that would have been a Karen. Okay, cool, Jaden. So that's it for our first episode. Short and sweet. I don't think this must go too long, because otherwise it's going to be, overwhelming.
Looking forward to all those comments.
100%. Cool. So thanks for joining. If you haven't followed, like, subscribe. I have to get used to all of that. So like, subscribe, follow, share. And in the future, we're going to have some exciting competitions running on the podcast channel and that as well. So stay tuned, and we'll see you on the next episode.